Hello, everyone. Welcome to English Insights. Today, we will explore the amazing story of Alfred Nobel, the man who created the Nobel Prize. Many people know the Nobel Prize as one of the highest honors in the world, but few know the story behind it. Did you know that Alfred Nobel was also the inventor of dynamite? Why did a man who made explosives decide to build a prize for peace? In this lesson, we will learn about his life, his inventions, and how one newspaper headline changed his destiny forever. It is not just a story about science. It is a story about guilt, change, and hope for a better world. Now, let's get started. Part 1. Early Life and Education. Alfred Nobel was born in 1833 in Stockholm, the capital of Sweden. His family was not rich, but they were full of ideas and dreams. His father, Emanuel Nobel, was an engineer and inventor. His mother, Henriette, was a strong and kind woman who took care of the family when times were hard. When Alfred was still a small boy, his father moved to Russia to find work. Later, the whole family joined him in St. Petersburg. There, his father built machines and started a small factory. Life became better, and Alfred was able to study at home with private teachers. He loved reading and was very good at science, especially chemistry. Alfred learned languages too. He could speak Swedish, Russian, French, English, and German. He once said that learning new languages made him feel free. This shows how curious and hardworking he was, even at a young age. When Alfred was a teenager, his father sent him to travel to different countries in Europe and America to learn more about engineering and chemistry. He studied in Paris under a famous chemist named Théophile Jules Pelouse. There, Alfred met another young scientist, Ascanio Sobrero, who had just invented nitroglycerin, a very powerful but dangerous liquid explosive. Alfred became fascinated by it. He wanted to find a way to make it safe to use for building tunnels and roads. However, life was not always easy for the Nobel family. When business in Russia failed, they had to return to Sweden. Money was tight again, and Alfred worked day and night in his small laboratory. He continued his experiments with nitroglycerin, trying to control its power. In 1864, a terrible accident happened. One of Alfred's experiments exploded, killing his younger brother and several workers. Alfred was deeply sad, but he did not give up. He kept studying and improving his invention. This moment was one of the most painful experiences in his life, but also one that shaped his future. Alfred Nobel's early life shows two sides of his character: curiosity and determination. He faced loss, failure, and danger, but he never stopped learning. His education and early experiments would later change the world in both good and bad ways. Part 2. The Invention of Dynamite. After many years of experiments, Alfred Nobel made one of the most important discoveries of his life, dynamite. His goal was not to make a weapon, but to create a safer way to use explosives for building and mining. Before dynamite, workers had to handle dangerous materials like nitroglycerin, which could explode suddenly and kill people. Alfred wanted to change that. In 1867, he found a way to mix nitroglycerin with a soft, sandy material called diatomaceous earth. This made the explosive more stable and easier to carry. He called his new invention dynamite, from the Greek word dynamis, meaning power. He also created a simple detonator to control explosions safely. For the first time, humans could use great explosive power for peaceful projects like building tunnels, roads, and bridges. The invention quickly spread across the world. Companies used dynamite to dig through mountains, build railways, and mine for valuable minerals. Nobel's idea helped make modern construction possible. Soon, Alfred became a very rich man. He built factories in many countries and hired hundreds of workers. People began to call him the Dynamite King. But not everyone was happy about his success. As time passed, some countries started using dynamite in wars. Alfred felt very sad when he saw that his invention, made for peace, was also being used to destroy. He once wrote in his notes that he wished dynamite could only be used for good. This feeling of guilt stayed with him for many years. Even with his fame and money, Alfred lived a simple and lonely life. He never married, and he spent most of his time in his laboratory working on new ideas. He invented more than 350 things during his lifetime, including special materials for building and new kinds of engines. But dynamite remained his most famous creation, and also the one that made him think deeply about life and death. In the newspapers, some people called him a genius, but others called him a man who brought destruction. These mixed opinions hurt him. He started to ask himself how people would remember him after he died. Would they see him as a man of science or a man of war? This question became very important for Alfred Nobel. It pushed him to look for a way to change his image and to leave something good behind. Soon, an unexpected event would give him the answer, one that would change his life and the world forever. Part 3. The Birth of the Nobel Prize. In 1888, something strange happened that completely changed Alfred Nobel's life. One morning, he opened a newspaper and read a shocking headline: "The Merchant of Death is dead." The article said that the man who had made it possible to kill so many people was finally gone. But there was one big mistake. The newspaper had confused Alfred with his brother, who had just died in France. When Alfred read the article, he felt cold inside. For the first time, he saw how the world truly saw him, not as a scientist or a dreamer, but as a man who made weapons. He felt deep regret. He didn't want to be remembered that way. That day, he decided to change his legacy. After this event, Alfred began to think seriously about his fortune and what would happen to it after his death. He had no wife or children, so he wanted his money to serve humanity. He believed that people who work hard to make life better should be rewarded. So he started writing a new will, a document that would surprise everyone. In his will, Alfred Nobel stated that most of his wealth should be used to create a set of prizes. Every year, the income from his money would be given to those who had done the most to help humankind. The prizes would honor 5 fields: physics, chemistry, medicine, literature, and peace. Many people were shocked when they learned about his will. Some of his relatives were angry because they expected to inherit his money. Others thought his plan was impossible. But Alfred was sure about his decision. He wanted his money to build a better image of himself, not through power or fame, but through kindness and knowledge. When Alfred Nobel died in 1896, his will was carried out. In 1901, the first Nobel Prizes were awarded in Sweden and Norway. Since then, the Nobel Prize has become a symbol of human achievement and hope. Through the Nobel Prizes, Alfred finally found peace. The man once called the merchant of death became known as a man of peace and progress. His story teaches us that it is never too late to change how the world remembers us. Part 4. The Nobel Prizes Today. More than 100 years have passed since the first Nobel Prizes were given. Today, the Nobel Prize is one of the most respected and famous awards in the world. Every year, scientists, writers, and peace workers from many countries wait in hope for the announcement of the winners. The Nobel Prizes are presented in 2 cities, Stockholm, Sweden, and Oslo, Norway. The prizes for physics, chemistry, medicine, and literature are given in Stockholm. The Peace Prize is given in Oslo. This is because Alfred Nobel had special feelings for both Sweden and Norway, which were united during his lifetime. Each winner receives a gold medal, a diploma, and a large sum of money. But the real value of the Nobel Prize is not in the money. It is in the honor of being recognized as someone who made life better for others. Many people say that the Nobel Prize is a dream come true for those who work to improve the world. Over the years, many famous names have received the Nobel Prize. Scientists like Albert Einstein, writers like Ernest Hemingway, and peace leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. all won this award. Their work has changed the way we think, live, and believe. The Nobel Prize is not only about talent, it is also about courage and hope. The Nobel Prize has also grown with time. In 1969, a new prize was added, the Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences, created in memory of Alfred Nobel. Although it was not part of his original plan, it follows his spirit of rewarding progress and knowledge. The Nobel Prizes continue to inspire millions of people. Students read about the winners, teachers use their stories in class, and young scientists dream of one day standing on the same stage. The ceremony, held every December 10th, Alfred Nobel's death anniversary, is watched all around the world. Music, speeches, and the bright faces of the winners make it a celebration of human achievement. The Nobel Prizes show that, even in a world full of problems, there are always people trying to find solutions. Just as Alfred Nobel hoped, his name is now linked not to destruction, but to discovery and peace. Part 5. Controversial Nobel Prizes. The Nobel Prize is one of the most respected awards in the world, but it has not always been free from criticism. Some prizes have caused surprise, debate, or even anger. These are the controversial Nobel Prizes, awards that made people ask, did the right person really win? One of the most discussed prizes is the Nobel Peace Prize. In 1973, it was given to Henry Kissinger from the United States and Le Duc Tho from Vietnam for helping to end the Vietnam War. But the war was still not over at that time, and many people believed that peace had not yet been achieved. Because of this, Le Duc Tho decided to refuse the prize. He said he could not accept it while his country was still at war. This made history as he became the first person ever to reject a Nobel Prize. Another famous case happened in 1964 when the writer and philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre refused the Nobel Prize in literature. He said that he did not want to be turned into an institution. Sartre believed that a writer should stay independent and not be linked to any official group or award. Even though the Swedish Academy still listed him as a Nobel winner, he never accepted the medal or the money. In 1958, the Russian writer Boris Pasternak was given the Nobel Prize for his novel Dr. Zhivago. His book was banned in the Soviet Union because it showed ideas that the government did not like. When he first heard about the prize, Pasternak was very happy. But later, under pressure from Soviet leaders, he was forced to refuse it. This created a big international scandal. There have also been debates about who received the Peace Prize. For example, In 2009, Barack Obama received the Nobel Peace Prize only a few months after becoming the President of the United States. Many people around the world felt that he had not yet done enough to deserve it. The Nobel Committee said they wanted to encourage his ideas about peace and dialogue, but some critics believed it was given too soon. Sometimes the controversy is not about who wins, but who is left out. Great scientists like Mahatma Gandhi for peace and Rosalind Franklin for DNA research never received a Nobel Prize, even though their work changed history. These cases remind us that the Nobel Committee is made of humans, and humans can make mistakes. Still, even with these controversies, the Nobel Prizes continue to carry meaning. The discussions and disagreements show that people care deeply about truth, fairness, and the idea of rewarding good work. In a way, the arguments also honor Alfred Nobel's dream, a dream of a world where people always question, think, and try to do better. Part 6. The Legacy of Alfred Nobel. Today, more than a century after his death, Alfred Nobel is remembered not as the merchant of death, but as a man who turned guilt into goodness. His story shows that one person can change the way the world remembers them, not through power, but through purpose. Alfred Nobel's decision to create the Nobel Prizes changed everything. Instead of leaving behind a fortune for his family, he left a gift for all humanity. His idea continues to inspire millions of people, scientists, writers, and peace builders to make the world a better place. The Nobel Prizes remind us that knowledge and kindness can be stronger than violence. His story also teaches an important lesson about responsibility. Alfred was not perfect. He made mistakes, and his invention, dynamite, was used for both good and bad. But instead of hiding from his past, he faced it. He asked himself how he could make things right. His answer was the Nobel Prize, a symbol of hope and progress. Even today, the influence of Alfred Nobel is everywhere. Each time someone wins a Nobel Prize, they are connected to his vision. From the discovery of penicillin to the fight against poverty and climate change, many Nobel winners have saved lives and changed history. These successes are part of Alfred's true legacy. Alfred Nobel also left a message for future generations. Never stop learning, never stop improving, and never believe it is too late to do something good. His life shows that change is possible, even when the past is heavy. Every year, on December 10th, the world celebrates his memory. The speeches, the music, and the smiling faces of the winners are proof that his dream is still alive. His name once linked to destruction, is now a symbol of discovery, peace, and hope. Alfred Nobel's life reminds us that our mistakes do not have to define us. What matters most is what we do after them. From a man who made dynamite came the greatest prize for peace, a beautiful paradox that continues to inspire the world.